Well, it seems Tobey Maguire's all the rage. He's been the rage for a long, long time with his Bully Maguire memes and whatnot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It seemed, according to Greg, that Tobey Maguire was what people were so happy about in his live stream talking about No Way Home. I personally like Andrew Garfield a lot more, but I still recognize, appreciate, and respect the Tobey Maguire fandom. I would love to see all three of them back together in another movie.
The OG Spider-Man.
Yes, exactly. Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA, the crazy goofy KIRK.
Hi.
We're looking at Tobey Maguire talks about Spider-Man 4 4 days before it's canceled.
Ooh.
I thought this would be fascinating. Now, we're talking specifically about Spider-Man 4 that I believe he would have done with Sam Raimi.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as I remember it from back in the day, Tobey said that he would not do any Spider-Man films without Sam Raimi, and that's why he basically stopped reprising the role of Peter Parker.
That's a nice excuse, isn't it? He was probably just like, yeah, I'm done.
I don't know, that's his biggest thing to date. I can't think of anything bigger other than Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit.
No one knows that. Like, no one thinks of Seabiscuit with, like, they don't really associate like that. They think they associate him with Peter Parker. Anyway, Let's jump into this. Here we go.
Spider-Man, I love that people are having a collective escapist experience in mass. You know, that's fun. It's fun to be a part of that joy for people.
Do you sneak into the back of the theaters and watch them have fun?
I have. I remember on the first Spider-Man, a bunch of us like took a bus and rode around and went to a couple of theaters and watched for pieces of the film. And yeah, it's fun. It was fun to do that, and it's been fun to do that. And also the experiences I've had with brothers, where they're both substantial, but this in a different way. All of that stuff is certainly satisfying. Yeah.
And does doing the two pictures in between prepare you to jump back into the giant machinery of doing a fourth movie?
Yeah, it's great. And
does it change your perspective? Is it different going in, or?
Well, it's always different. I mean, each movie's different. We evolve as people. All of that. At the same time, there are certain dynamics and relationships that have continuity. Sam and myself, Sam Raimi, the director, and we have a certain banter or dynamic that's fun and funny, and I love collaborating with him. So there's some familiarity that I really love, and also I like the new. And okay, how do we press this? How do we make it more exciting, more fun? How do we evolve the character and make it a rich story? And how do I make it interesting for myself to go do something else? So yeah, I appreciate that too. I have fun with those movies. I really do.
This video is like Revenge of the Jedi for YouTube. It's so bizarre.
Well, how do you mean?
Revenge of the Jedi was the original title of Return of the Jedi, and then they realized Jedis don't get revenge. And so they had to quickly pull all the merch that said Revenge of the Jedi on it. And so here it's like this antiquated thing. It's so wonderful and weird. It's like, this was like this moment in time captured before it all went away. It's the weirdest thing. It's like seeing remnants of mankind after we're gone. It's so bizarre.
Sure, okay.
I don't know if I'm making any sense. It's just so, because this exists for a timeline that never played out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It's like that version of history never happened. We never got our Spider-Man 4.
In an alternate universe, though, he gave that interview, and then Spider-Man 4 happened.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And with his variant. It's super weird. And my biggest takeaway from this is he has aged wonderfully. I don't know what kind of magic juice he's drinking or what kind of vegetables he's eating, or if he's eating like organic or, free-range chicken, but he's looking great for his age. He does not look that much older now than he did there.
No, he doesn't. He looks really good.
It might have to do with his height, because I think shorter people tend to look younger longer.
Yes, I think I've heard that.
From me. So, I haven't heard that theory anywhere else but from my own mouth. And so you guys can tell me what you think. Yeah, that's super neat. Like, can you imagine, like, because what he's thinking in that moment is, all right, so I've got this project ahead of me. I'm gonna have to put on the suit again. He's probably thinking about what kind of shape he has to be in. Maybe the fun of working with Sam Raimi again. Like, I just wonder what's going through his head, and then all of that just disappears. And I wonder what his feeling was when it all went away. If he had like a Christian Bale moment. Was it Christian Bale? No, who was it? Yeah, it was Christian Bale, because after he finished doing Batman and he found out that I think he found out Ben Affleck was gonna take over, he had this moment of like, oh fuck, like I'm not Batman anymore. And it gave him like serious pause, like sadness. Oh, that happened, and then he moved on. So,
Right.
you know, but gave him enough pause that he had to share those feelings, you know, publicly.
Well, it seemed like, at least from what I saw from this interview, it seemed like Tobey Maguire at that time, I don't know if it's still the same, he was taking himself very seriously as an actor. I was getting that vibe
Why
from
shouldn't
him.
he? Why shouldn't
No,
he?
no, he totally should, but like...
The way he was talking about the role.
The way he was talking and everything, it just kind of made me feel like maybe he was just kind of over it. Yeah, like, oh, it was fun and all, but...
I mean, he signed up to do it again. That's the thing. I mean, I don't know the politics of what happened around why that film got canceled. I never looked it up, but it does make me wonder if it was more relief or sadness when it stopped.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, the thing about it is I haven't heard him talk about it much, whereas we've heard Andrew Garfield talk about Spider-Man well after it stopped. And he talks about how much he loves Spider-Man and blah, blah, blah. He's a true fan.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if it frustrates Tobey Maguire that he's so closely associated with that. Like Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, you know?
Sure. Yeah, who knows?
But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really neat to just kind of take a walk back through time and seeing this thing. You know,
Trippy.
It is, and we're getting a lot of these kinds of things on YouTube. The most random stuff, and I really enjoy the shit out of it. Like I just get hooked watching the first HD cameras recording the streets of New York City back in the early 90s. It's like we had footage of New York City in the 90s. It's not like it wasn't in color, but it was like HD footage of normies on the streets of New York. Like high def, really good high def footage. And it's like, it's kind of trippy because everyone's like, you know what I mean? Like going back through time and then seeing colored footage of like the 1910s and stuff like that, of old black and white footage. You know, somehow people were riding around in trucks and stuff in the 1910s, and they colored this footage and added sound effects to give it some sort of present day feel. I love that shit. And so likewise here, it's and then
It's like a time capsule.
Yeah, it's exactly. And then the interview was so candid. It's uncut. It doesn't have any of like
none of the flair, none of the special lighting, the wallpaper. I wasn't really into it, but you know, it was a look, it was a vibe.
Well, it was never put together with the pizzazz that you normally get with like an ET interview.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Entertainment Tonight. Like you normally have a whole bunch of splash and
Yeah.
it's cut back to the interviewer. It's like asking questions and whatnot and smiling with
So
his
serious.
super white teeth.
Yeah.
But you got none of that. This is literally just on him making his
Yeah, that was
going through his thought process. You know, I thought that was kind of neat. Like just seeing that super raw. You don't even today. You don't get that. So
really up close on his face as well.
that camera guy couldn't keep focus. I was like, no wonder they scrapped the interview. That's why they scrapped the fourth movie.
Because the camera guy in the interview couldn't keep focus
Yeah,
and was doing
exactly.
some aggressive zoom ins.
It's his fault. I enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys did too. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.